acres with the barracks, 103 acres, 183 acres right outside of the base, and the officers club are the top priority. And we were tasked by the leadership of Fort Pickett all the way to the TAG, which is the top general for the National Guard in the state of Virginia, to make it happen. And there's no benefit for WBWF doing it. What we've offered is the top dollar we can pay. We went up from negotiation, we went up 2,000 an acre.
2,500.
We went from somewhere around, 85 to now 11,000 an acre to 183. And then for meeting with both, we added another $200,000 for the 55. So we're maxed out with what we are allowed to pay within our program. And we think, just like every other project we've done, and we've done over 150 projects that account for 24,000 acres around this base, we create a win-win every single time, and we don't have a project. The landowner wins, military mission wins, and in this case, economic engine is going to win because from Philip's concern about economic, in particular commercial development, we went and got some exceptions made for this 183 acres. So just so long as it's compatible to the military mission, we have given the clearance to have those discussions with a private or a public company that could benefit all the citizens here and hopefully add jobs and hopefully be with a company that be benefiting Fort Pickett and our national security. And I would just say, look, y'all can see on the news, this world is a hostile damn place. That railroad track coming through there, if we make this deal happen, the minute we own it, they will have full access from here to eternity to it, which they do not right now. And they're going to need it. So there's a lot of things that we look after and we're in discussion about. And then the other thing, we're taking care of individual men and lives to make sure they get the proper training. And remember, like what Chairman Bill said, that's the largest economic development engine that you got in Southside, Fort Pickett. It brings over $30 million to the county of Nottoway a year, and $20 million in kind. So if we don't take care of the mothership, that's the role we play. And I think we've made a good, fair offer to y'all, so that we can take care of all of the things in one swoop. Because if a private investor goes by that 183 acres and they do something that's incompatible, y'all know how you ended up with this property one time. It could happen again. So I mean that's everything on the table, y'all. I think we have pushed the appraisal to the limit to make it happen. And I just think it's a really good, fair offer, and it creates those win-wins that we always are after with every property owner. This just happened to be the county of Nottoway.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Mr. Vanderbeck, to my question the other evening, this property is zoned industrial both north and south?
Currently?
Yes, and I've asked Mr. Zodi to advertise for the airport overlay for the south side adjacent to the current airport, and that gives you your protections in regards to height. So
it does limit it so we don't end up with a gas station over there or daggone something else, Wawa or something that may be deemed compatible with the military mission. I did have an opportunity when I first discussed this with Bill. I was under the impression, wrongfully, incorrectly, that there was going to be a conservation easement placed on the property. And I called Tom the next morning and I said, Tom, I don't know about a conservation easement. That doesn't sound like everybody's best interest. And he assured me that there would not be a conservation easement placed on this property. What would take place is, I think Ward hit on it, that it has to be a compatible use. And how you define that, I don't really know. Maybe you guys know better. But clearly it's got to be defense related. clearly it's going to have to be a manufacturer, research development, something that is compatible with what the military does. It does have the effect of putting an easement of some sorts, but we're asking for the zoning for the airport overlay district that would restrict development as well. Okay, that will only allow it to be for general, commercial, military, aviation, manned and unmanned for the most part. There are a few other caveats that Greg had included, and I think the town of Crew had a few things in there. But as long as it doesn't have a conservation easement placed on it, I don't think it works against the town. Would I prefer it not to happen? Yeah, probably. Just so you know that many things can happen. But I also told Bill after I chewed on him the first day, and I said, "Oh, Bill, it's such a bad thing. This is terrible." And after we talked to Ward and Tom on the phone, I've also never had a judge tell me to build a $20 million courthouse. You know, we've been broke in Blackstone before, but I've never looked down the barrel of a $25 million bond with no additional cash in the hand. So I told Bill, I don't want to be the guy that comes to the podium and gives you all the problems and tell you what you're doing wrong without giving you a solution. And I don't have a $2 million solution right now. I really don't. I don't know where else you would come up with money, and I don't know if there's a million people beating down your door for solar panels. But if the property can be left with the potential in a good faith, between the community and the post and the foundation, that if a project were to come and it was legitimate, that you guys would do your best to make sure that whatever has to be approved or however it has to be approved, that you guys would assist us with that. It's not going to be a Wawa, and it wouldn't be a gas station, it wouldn't be anything crazy, but something compatible with the airfield and something compatible with the military. As far as price goes, the town and the county have a contract to sell and to purchase 73 acres at the airfield. In my personal opinion, I think it's more valuable land because it already has water and sewer that bisects the property.
You're talking about the 73 acres.
It has water and sewer through the middle of the property, so there wouldn't have to be any additional. On that 183, that portion that's north of 40 has neither. We looked at it a year or so ago with the development commission. $4 million just to run the sewer to the north end of that property. The south end of the property, and I don't know the split on the acreage, I don't know, 50 acres on the south side, whatever it is. But the southern side of Route 40 does have sewer almost adjacent to it. There's a manhole in the airfield. You can see the damn thing sticking up out of the ground right there at the edge of the property. And then there's water on Route 40 and communication. So that clearly has a higher value, but I still don't think it has the value that the piece that we're buying has, because the piece we're buying has direct access on the airfield at the infrastructure, not on the periphery of the airfield or a closed runway. Okay, there's two runways that take it, one's closed and one's open. The 73 acres has direct access to the open runway. This property, where the 183 has direct access onto a closed runway. Okay, not as attractive. We have a contract for $9,000 an acre.
Without the timber.
Without the timber. So without the luxury of knowing what the timber cruise is, it's stout timber, and I worked with Ronnie Pendleton for many years, and I got to know wood a little bit. That's stout wood on that thing. That thing would bring better than 2,000 acres, I think, or $2,000 an acre for the timber. Not knowing any more about it than just driving down the road and looking at it. But I think the piece that we're buying probably is the better piece for development, simply because the direct access to the airfield, water and sewer access, the same internet, all those kind of things, and road frontage. I don't think it's an unfair offer. But I think if you look at the timber crews and then the $9,000 an acre and try to factor in the infrastructure that's already there, it's roughly equal to what we're paying, roughly. Okay. As long as, again, the conservation easement doesn't go on the property, and we have those assurances. I don't know if those are in writing or those are part of any
Well, I think there's
codicil to the
I think there's
agreement.
some discussion of some deed restrictions. We had some citizens who were concerned that the foundation would later apply to be tax exempt on that parcel. So that's a rumor. Nobody said it. It's just that they talked. And so if we talked about something in the deed in regards to remaining on the tax rolls, talk about the a compatible use would be considered.
And how is that compatible use determined, and who determines it? Is it
The
the
guard.
guard? Is that Ward Burton?
I will say the military so will be the middleman.
They'll be the sole decider on such a
Yeah.
thing. Are they interested in anything going on there, or is this taking place because they don't want anything on that?
They do not want incompatible for sure.
Sure.
So that's what they don't want. But they are open for anything that's compatible. In fact, Colonel Mason, who I think most of y'all have met, said that especially if something drone related that could help the military and help the community, he said that would be a win-win for
It'd be
everybody.
okay.
But it'd be directly up to the military base, probably the base commander and his leadership, not necessarily National Guard Bureau. That's a headquarters, and they'll listen to the base. So directly to the base.
So that some type of language that the base commander would determine
Compatibility.
compatible use. So that 20 years from now, somebody says, well, who's supposed to decide this?
Right.
It's already in writing.
It would be base leadership.
Yeah.
So, and look, we haven't put a conservation easement on any property we bought on any 4 counties around the base, and don't have any intention of doing so.
And that's why I was wrong, because I immediately,
Well, we're
Ward
a
Burton Foundation,
conservation
conservation
organization. It is one of the tools. Now, we do pay landowners
Right.
to put their land in conservation easements.
Mhm.
But we're paying them to do that. We also pay them to do a deed restriction. They can pick whichever one they want. But the deed restriction is the same restriction. It just allows some things, like it would allow solar, it would allow swine, or it would allow some commercial development that conservation easement normally wouldn't allow. And you don't get the federal write-off of the deed restriction. But no, if we acquire property that has nothing to do with ACOB now, we use those tools like a conservation easement. Yes, sir.
well, so there's not a surprise. I spoke with John earlier today. One of the things that the town is in the midst of working on is a boundary adjustment. Okay, and it's just interesting timing that these things are coming. But I had proposed to the council last year, earlier this year, 3 different areas, 2 of which were requests from property owners adjacent to the town who wanted to come to town. We have more lenient subdivision rules, and when I say lenient, we still enforce them, but we allow more density. And so instead of 8 lots, you may be able to get 16 lots inside the town rather than outside the town. So we've had 2 property owners petition us to come inside the town, and then the town of Blackstone and the Board of Supervisors years ago, when Nottoway Commons was kind of kicking around, and I don't know, we call it the Gomez property, I don't know what you guys call it, but where Nottoway Commons was going to go, because there wasn't sewer capacity to serve the size of development he was proposing at the time, the county provided some money to the town, and we made some commitments also to provide services to them and that sort of thing. So in this upcoming month, I'm going to propose, as we have, to the main gate to be boundary adjusted inside the town limits. Would you be opposed, or would the Board of Supervisors be opposed, and no one has to answer the question, to add the southern half of this property also to be in town? Because it already has the water and sewer, we don't have to spend millions of dollars to serve it. I gotta spend millions of dollars on the north side. The town would really have to make a big financial commitment if we were to propose to boundary adjust the north side of Route 40. But would that be agreeable to you guys?
It wouldn't affect us.
Here's the reason why, because long after I'm gone, long after Ward's gone, long after Tom's gone, then the town at least has a seat at the table when somebody comes up and says, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to go about doing it. We'll keep the same zoning. I think the zoning that's been written by Greg has been very useful. And the zoning that would be put on the property would stay. We would adopt that same zoning district or some zoning ordinance, unless council made any changes. But I don't want to surprise anybody. I don't want to shock anybody. I did notify John that may be on the agenda. The town council may say no, they don't want to do that. But I'll make that proposal to them in January if that's not shocking to everybody and outrageous.
That's right. Okay. Well, if we hope we were to purchase the property, it'd be protected in perpetuity, and that's that's what we're doing. So whether it's in Blackstone or Nottoway, it's really up to you guys. To figure out what's
I
best.
wouldn't put it in there because it'll never be a neighborhood. It don't make a
No, we don't
damn-
want it to be a
I mean, it
neighborhood.
won't make a daggone whether you and I are planning or not.
It is,
If we would go to jail for doing some activity like that.
we're not gonna do, we don't want it to be residential. It really is the de facto town of Blackstone industrial park. We don't have it. We had to sell ours because Southside Electric refused to provide three-phase services.
I don't know, I mean, to us, you know, it's like some counties have land use, some don't. We would take advantage of those things because, you know, we're normally not adding any buildings. But, our rules and cooperative agreement are pretty clear. And, even if they wasn't, we will always look after the military mission. The interesting thing about this, we've never asked a question about any type of commercial or any type of development at all, any property that we ever were gonna possibly acquire until we knew about your conversation. And your conversation, that's when we immediately went and got some answers. We didn't have any idea we would have gotten those answers. So they're pretty much saying, if it's compatible, y'all are more than can have those conversations.
Both of the pieces are going to be treated similarly. The town of Blackstone is using Virginia aviation funds to put in their infrastructure. They cannot parcel that property. That would be a ground lease if they get a company that comes in, and then the tenant would pay payment in lieu of taxes to the county.
If we use Department of Aviation money, and we would intend on including this property ultimately in the airport layout plan, long term. How do we interface it with the airport? How do taxiways approach it? All those kind of things. And that property can be accessed with Department of Aviation money if the property is included in our airport layout plan.
The Ward Burton Foundation can also not subdivide.
Right.
But according to that conversation, if a business came, you would do a ground lease for an improvement. They would pay for the improvement, but the ground would still be owned by the Ward Burton Foundation. So that may give you some income to continue on, some additional.
Yep, no question about it.
Right, and a lot of times when we would make money off of a property, it could be an ag lease or something like
Right,
that.
hunting lease,
It-
ag lease.
Especially at first, the money's put back into the ACUP program or the budget program. But we'll see. But we do pay taxes, and back to your other point, Bill. We own land in Pennsylvania and Virginia, and we pay in many counties and pay taxes in every single county.
Yeah.
If the counties were to approve for us not to pay taxes, we'd be glad not to pay taxes. But we there's not a single.
We're
instance.
not trying to go get there.
Yeah, but there's not a single instance where we're exempt from any county in 2 states.
We get asked, why do you pay the same as your neighbor when this land has got obvious restrictions on it? And we don't have the answer, but you're not gonna see us coming to the courthouse, to the board of supervisors, asking for an exception for paying taxes, cause we need to pull our weight just like all those citizens do.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
if I can, all right, so a couple of different things here. So what you were just hitting on was about being on the tax roll, because some of the citizens are saying y'all are 501c3 and that you're not going to have to pay taxes, but that's just not true.
That's not true.
That's what you
So we don't have to pay,
Sales
but now we do pay sales tax.
That's right.
So when we went, because of this program, like let's just say we get a $2.5 million a modification to our cooperative agreement for 2025, internal revenue in our 990 looks at that as income. Although y'all know as well as I do, it's not income to us, it's gonna be dispersed to a willing landowner. But that made us pay sales tax, because the state of Virginia has a cap. So the only thing we don't have to pay is capital gain tax. Now that's where we're tax exempt, is paying capital gain.
But But your real estate tax, y'all will be paying.
So Christy Hudson shared some information with Andrew today. I think it's 300, Boyd Burton Foundation has got 380 some acres of land in Nottoway County, and they paid $33,300 some in real estate tax. So anybody who's saying they're not paying their taxes, that's not true.
We appreciate you getting that information.
Right, that's right. Yes,
Well,
sir.
Christian, they pay on time.
Hang on a second, John
Did we
has,
pay on time?
John has the floor right now, John.
All right, and so the other part of that was, there seems to be some confusion that the government is getting this property back, that y'all are giving this property back, which would mean, once again, it would fall into a non-taxable, form. That is not correct, am I correct?
Go ahead.
Only the officers club and the barracks property will, that will go back.
But it's the Department of Military Affairs. Fort Pickett cannot accept it. So this is like what Colonel Mason told us the other day. It would take an act of Congress, World War III, get the Corps of Engineers and all them involved. It would take probably a decade for any military base to increase their training holdings, their real estate holdings. So Fort Pickett cannot, they don't have the funding, nor do they have the wherewithal to purchase. They don't have the authority to purchase. So this is separate. This funding comes from completely different funding. Not a penny of this is coming from the Virginia National Guard.
Okay, but just so we're clear, so the citizens understand this, board's clear, the 53 acres and then the 3 acres with the officers club will not be on the county's tax roll.
Yeah, that's the plan.
It'll be government, it'll be government.
Okay.
Government.
It's not on there now, right?
Right.
No, it's not on tax roll.
Right, that's correct. So, y'all have already hit on the thing about putting all the information in writing, which needs to be, couple other things real quick then. Can y'all give us what is a compatible and non-compatible, any examples of that?
Yeah, so we stopped the wind turbines at 14 Town Gap going on top of the Blue Mountain, which will eliminate 45% of the helicopter training around these mountains. This guy, we paid him handsomely. He got allowed on all those mountaintops to do commercial development. No single family dwelling, no daycare, nothing similar like that, but he got what he asked for. But we did away with the wind turbines. Chicken houses, right next to 14 Town Gap. This family wanted 2 chicken houses, and the base said it was compatible. The helicopter fly right smack over top of them every day. So they're just 2 that, a lot of people up in that area are still raising dairy cattle. So building the barns and the infrastructure for agriculture, anything agriculture has always been compatible. Family farm. The thing that we're trying to eliminate is anything over 100 foot tall and family residential. Family residential is where things that are real loud and smoke and all that, and they're dangerous, cause the biggest uncompatible.
Do y'all have any information on the officers club appraisal? Because we're hearing there's some different numbers, as far as what that officers club is actually worth. What we're hearing is some numbers close to the 400,000. Now, and I'll put that on myself first and foremost for not asking for it. But I think it's out in the public. It is a point of contention that some of us are dealing with now. And I just wanted to know, do y'all have any appraisal or anything as to the value other than, I know that the acreage here is 80,000, but is there a breakdown on that, what the building's worth? Because there was the grant money that was put into it, like $1.2, $1.3 million that was put into it some years back.
Right, I can speak to that real fast. So first of all, we have a cooperative agreement with the military. And we're not allowed the appraisals that we do for all our projects. We've done 143 projects around Fort Pickett, and not one single time can we share that with a purchase. And we always tell the landowner, hey, if you want to go get an appraisal, well, please go get one, but this one belongs to the military. I can tell you that 400,000, we did go out and get the best appraiser, I believe. I mean, he's nationally known. He's done some incredible stuff around the country. He's from Richmond, but he is nationally known with especially economic development. He does subdivisions. He did Magnolia Green up here towards Richmond. He's top notch, and he did not get. I can tell you, he did not get 400,000.
Well, let me ask, interject. I didn't look up the tax assessment on it, and if the county owns it, is there still a tax assessment? There is no tax assessment. Because I was told that there was a $400,000 tax assessment, but I didn't think if the county owned, there is no tax assessment.
I tell you what really hurt it. What really hurt it is the roof and the repair that we're gonna. So his name is Stuart Swanson, and he's like Tom said, he can get some unbelievable numbers for us. The amount of money that we have to put it to get it back in condition is what dropped to the 240. That's what happened.
And that and the access, the unpredictable access.
Oh, yeah.
And he says it is not, somebody plans a wedding.
It would be really predictable for the military.
That's right. That's right. But it would be, he said, in fact, at one time he called Jacob and he goes, man, I don't know what to do with this thing. He says, I could plan a wedding for my daughter out there, and all of a sudden they close it down the day before. And he goes, I don't even know how to put a number on it. But he did. He researched it, put a number on it, but it was not. I can tell you, it's not 400,000.
Well, I think you have to have a.
How do you get comps to a property like that?
Well, that's what
You
we.
don't.
So
It's inside the gate.
the
So
chairman.
how do you, but does he go to another state?
Go
and
per
get something else?
square footage on commercial construction, then depreciate it down.
So I reached out. You had me reach out to Lee Simmons about it, and just to get. We didn't call it appraisal price. What'd you call it?
Kind of an evaluation.
Valuation. And Lee Simmons, who's not in the, he said, I don't know how in the world you can't compare it to something else. There's nothing adjacent to it. It's inside a base, and he basically said the same thing. The access to it is what hinders trying to come up with a decent price with it. But anyway.
But it's worth profit to the military. Because they can stop all that outside stuff and come in.
Well, yeah,
Right.
That's right.
The last thing I got right now, guys, was y'all's funding, the way y'all get y'all's funding each year, and I just, I don't, please, if it sounds abrasive, that's not the intent. Because it seems like there's a sense of urgency to move right now, and the reason why I'm asking is that because of the when the money can move and when it can't
That's
move.
because if we don't move fast, then we're not number 1 or 2 base in the country.
Gotcha.
And that's really driven by me. The quicker we close, the quicker we get more money, and Fort Pickett is number 2 in the country right now. 14 Town Gap is number 1 because this crew right here closed the project.
Right.
That's why I wanted this emergency to know if we got a willing landowner or not, because if we don't, we're going down the road. We're not gonna sit here and talk about this thing for months and months and months. We got to close on projects. That's what we're tasked to do for this military mission, and that's what we're gonna do. So I mean, we're competing with other partners, but we're the best in the country because we put the military mission first, and we create the win-win. And there's no fine print in this deal right here. We're gonna pay for all legal expenses. We're gonna pay for the BDR, the environmental assessment. If a survey is needed, we're gonna pay for it. Y'all don't have to be involved with none of that. These are offered, that's what you're gonna clear. So I mean, there's no fine print in what we're saying here. But we're tasked, I mean, put y'all self in their shoes. We can't if we let the military base down, we might cost somebody a lot. This technology with just small arm training, small arm caliber is changing so rapidly. Stanley noted he was in charge of the mate's house, changing so rapidly the distance that we need to make people safe. It's just changing quick, like the drones that Philip bringing up, the way that they flew helicopters just in Iraq 10 years ago. Now they got away with it. Now it would put them on the ground within minutes. The warfare is changing, so we cannot be letting grass grow under our feet with this program.
Mr. Burton, we do have some other guests, and that was the request of our supervisors to have our EDC here. Either mayor or town manager, do you have anything that you guys would like to add?
I don't have anything right now. It's something that's gonna benefit me, town Berkeley.
It's always,
Right.
if
Well,
it benefits the
that-
county, it benefits
Yeah,
everybody.
I mean, I would add that, having Fort Pickett there and not closed down.
Yes.
Will help Burkeville.
Employment, yes.
Yeah.
And Mayor,
employment.
you're a veteran too.
Yes, I am, yes.
I know you.
What service?
31 years.
Wow. That's how y'all work together.
Still going like that.
Ward, you said y'all didn't pay any capital gains with the benefit of the 501c3. Do y'all have to pay ordinary income? Cause that's hiding capital gain.
It's hiding capital.
Ordinary income is hiding capital gain. Higher percentage than capital gain.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
You said y'all was exempt from the capital gain, right?
If it's in our mission state.
Uh-huh. If it's in your mission statement.
Now, if it was a commercial development, if we worked out something with Philip or y'all, we would have to pay capital gains on that.
Okay.
If it's something to do with conservation,
Then
we
you do
don't
not.
have, like, if you donated $20 to us, we don't have to pay capital gains.
I see.
But if we generated, say, rent from a house or rent from this property, we are not exempt.
In that case, you would pay ordinary income,
In that case, we pay just like anybody else.
which is higher than capital gain.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly. So it's like a church, if they generated a lot of money for something that wasn't in regard to their, whatever their disciple is, they got to pay taxes. Like if they were selling real estate, and we're the same way.
What's the interest in those properties, the officers club and the barracks?
So, at day of closing, we will deed them to the Department of Military Affairs. It'll never be owned by WWF. Only the 183 acres. Because that's, we've never asked the question. I guess legally we could own it, but that's not our wheelhouse. Taking care of World War II barracks. That's not what we're about.
Right. And I can say in the interest of the military, so that's the right answer for us. And for the military, and we're dealing with this at another base, which we call it in-holding. It's probably, our county-owned property inside of the military base. But they do not want that to be under the ownership of a foreign government, especially, somebody like the Chinese or Russians. And that can happen. If you sell one of those barracks to a citizen now, it might be a great company. They might do well for 25 years. What happens at the death or passing could be sold to somebody that with a foreign interest, and that would be a foreign interest inside the base, which would be disastrous. So now all the bases in the country are looking at their in-holdings, and that's why it's so important to also do it so fast.
Right.
One, we don't know how long we'll have REPI. We hope REPI, we've had it for 12 years, but we're not guaranteed year after year. So if we don't move like word says fast, while we have the money, make hay, the sun's out. But anyway, it's the interest, is the, foreign interest holding property inside the base. And so it's just critical that it is under either our ownership outside the base or the military's ownership inside the base.
Is there any other property that you guys are interested in other than these?
Probably. Yeah, we get these three, everything that County Nottoway owns in there.
You still have a 135 acre tract, don't you?
Yeah, 135 acres, and we also. own-
Down behind your substation.
Right, and we still own an incubator, which is, right there, but that's inside the gate. But that part of that property is inside the gate, part of it is outside the gate.
Do we have a house?
Well, FDC's got it, well.
We still have a house?
I got one question though. I know it's talking about doing a landfill. They're still talking that?
We don't have enough land to do a landfill. Lunenburg is what, John, you visited them, 700?
Yeah, I think they bought another 400 acres.
They did, they
So
doubled
that's,
that.
so over 1,000 acres to make a commercial, private landfill. It does very good for the county. They're making money. We see the trucks come through Blackstone and the trains come through Blackstone. But there's just not enough acreage owned by the county over there. We could put it out as a, something to private landowners and say, hey, well, here's the zoning if you want to do it. So, Mr. Miskovic, you have,
I've got a few questions, thank you.
I know you had some questions.
We mentioned two terms, compatible versus not incompatible, which are similar but two different things, I would think. So compatible to me means it aligns with the mission of the military. Not incompatible is anything as long as it doesn't, it's not incompatible with the military mission. So which is it that you're looking at? Compatible or not incompatible?
I wouldn't. I think not incompatible would be a double reverse on that. But it's just incompatible. So it's compatible and incompatible. But yeah, compatible and good question. But I would say compatible is anything that the military considers compatible to their mission, which could change, over time. I mean, what they consider compatible now, they might not consider compatible in 10 years. Don't know. And incompatible is just anything that could harm their mission.
So
we gave some good examples of those.
Sure. So anything that would not harm their mission would be something that could be put in there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got a question.
Yeah.
No, please, go ahead.
Now, you said compatible, man. Is that gonna help the faculty down there too, with being compatible, with using that land to help them too? Anybody, or is that a tenant?
Well, Fast C owns their ground. That the county sold that a number of years ago.
Okay.
So they're just another campus down there.
Because I was looking at, if we're gonna make it compatible, we make it, because everybody knows, housing, barracks and stuff like that, that's always a problem with people coming to train there. Right. They want to stay in those regular barracks and they want to stay in something nice, nice motel, something like that, outside the gate.
In the military, they were talking about the military mission chain. I can tell you what's compatible. Is whatever that post commander says. We don't know who that post commander is going to be 10 years from now. But I can tell you, as the military stands right now, these people, commanders, did not bring their troops to Fort Pickett because of the nice barracks or the nice eating accommodations that are available outside the gate. They bring their soldiers there to train in a natural environment and to use those ranges like that. The more money they put in their ranges, those commanders don't care if them soldiers sleep on the floor of a tent every night the whole time they're there, as long as they can get them somewhere and get them washed and cleaned up. So I wouldn't look for anything like that, to jump out. The things that I foresee becoming incompatible or being able to go both ways, I think now solar might even be compatible. But in the future with the drones and the drone training and whatnot that goes on, a commander could say, hey, look, that's affecting our drone training. We don't want y'all to lease it to somebody that wants to put that type of money maker, right? So that's going to change. If anybody in the military that tells you that this is going to be good to go forever, he just sit there and he didn't think real good, because he don't know what's coming up next year, next month, or 10 years from now as the mission changes. So that's why it's hard to put in writing, exactly what you can and can't do. It's almost impossible. I know everybody wants something in writing, so they say, "Oh, y'all told us that we could put a bowling alley there because the soldiers like to go bowling." Well, now we can't bowl because the bowling alley is going to be too big for whatever. It's going to look like a target to the helicopter. It's going to affect some type of military training that we don't even know is out there that exists now. So things like that's what water is, that compatibility issue is forever training. They even talked about the windmills. The windmills now they claim about the waves that the windmills put off are incompatible. Not only the height restrictions, but also it messes up some of the radar systems on those big
have we looked
systems. So it's different things that will change as it
Just
comes.
the simple deed restrictions, compatible use will be determined by the base commander at that time.
That would be something I would say would be very good to write down. As determined by the base
Have
commander.
y'all talked with, being here as a National Guard entity or owned by them, talk to them and see what their future plans are, or is training using that base or anything?
That's who, they wanted this property for that reason. That's the reason. They are the ones who wanted the property. It wasn't Ward that jumped out here and said, I want, the military said, hey, look here, we want you, we don't have another vehicle to fly this
That's
property.
probably a
We'd like
good
you to
point.
do
I
it
don't
for
know
us."
if we made that clear. If it didn't, I'm sorry. So we got 62 landowners signed up right now. Y'all are one of the 62. Y'all, these three properties rank the highest of all the rest. We do what the military leadership tells us to do with the funding we've got. We don't pick, because y'all can see that would be a big conflict of interest. We never do that. We might go down the list because for whatever reason your mom said we're not doing it this year, but your wife said, yeah, we are, let's do it. And you're second, so you're next up. You know, so yeah. I mean, like how we got Connie, Woodson's sister is, she was willing and she had a beautiful property and we worked the deal out. She put a conservation agent on her. So yeah, we're not in charge of, we're an instrument of fortune.
Mr. Goodbeck, did you have?
I do have some more questions. No, that's fine, thank you.
I'm just keeping you on track.
It's heard a lot of talk.
So, well, at first, if you're interested in a bowling alley, I'm sure the county has one. But well, let me just be specific with the compatibility. Would a data center be considered compatible or incompatible?
Most likely that would be compatible.
Okay.
I mean, we can all answer that because a plane or a helicopter or a drone is not gonna bother, but they all gonna be wanting dark skies, right? That's why they don't want anything over 100 foot tall. But at Stanley Point, technology changes so fast, as y'all know. There's no way we really gonna know. What's the shape of the Dow Jones? You know, because I bet you that's gonna start changing too.
Be obsolete by next week.
Well, Ward, some of my conversations with the military when you had brought them to the office, depending on how big the data centers are, is it a park of data centers, but it could be a target. It can be looked at as a target. So, I mean, that's the same thing I think that I heard down at the end of the table down there is that the next commander might say, that's too much of a target for me. We got too many tanks. I mean, I don't know.
And everything goes into the risk assessment. Everything that goes in, we have security experts out there for picking it. Anything that's gonna raise the threat level to this trainer, or the people that work there, or the people that are coming there to be trained, is considered, you know.
Good point. And I tell you what, I think we're gonna take it a step further, because this is new territory for us too. We're gonna go all the way to top, and that's the tag in Virginia. So the base commander obviously gonna be a big part of it, but we're gonna go all the way to top, because we don't want somebody to come back and say, well, so we'll do our homework. What I think will end up happening is we will figure out what partners would make a lot of sense for the base. And one of those partners is gonna see the infrastructure there and the planning and all, they're gonna want to be there. And then the next thing you know, it's a hell of an asset for jobs for Nottoway and Blackstone and for the military mission. That's our hope. But we can't put it in writing, man. I mean, hell, we don't know what we don't know.
Crystal ball,
No, sir. But to Stanley's point, that'd be the best case scenario. Then we're just working hand in hand with y'all, you know.
I would say, just to add to what you were saying, with the tag, you may want to either the tag may change within the next month, given the new administration coming in. I think the governor-elect has appointed General Williams as the former tag as the secretary. So that may be
He's awesome. He knows we're sitting here right now.
That's not who the tag works for, though.
Right.
He's gonna be in part of the Veterans Affairs. The tag actually works for the Secretary of Transportation, as does the state police.
You mean
head of the state police.
Public safety?
Yeah, public
Okay.
safety.
That's fine. Okay.
Transportation and public safety.
Okay, yeah, I knew it
Yeah.
changed over a little bit, some of the agencies. Okay, perfect. Just look at the handout that you gave. The barracks portion, the 53 acres, in fiscal year 26, when more funding is secured. To me, that would be the higher priority for the military, because, you know, they don't want, that things that are inside, the base to be sold to a foreign entity. I'd assume that it's the highest priority for the county, because that's where the county's bleeding money, versus the undeveloped land. So why is that when more funding is secured instead of a higher priority?
Yeah, good question. Not gonna answer. We were in the meeting when we prioritized that, but the railroad track is ultra important to the military base. That's how
They gave it away without access.
Yeah, they gave it away without access, so they have to have that for any type of readiness, next war.
Are those tracks alive? I mean, some of them are grown up now.
They go through every year, and I'm not saying you could get one down there tomorrow, but put it this way, they done cut their sweet gum. They could go through there and clean them up and use them.
And here's the other reason. The amount of money that we got allocated to us right now will close on the offer for the officers' house, the officers' club, and the 183 acres. And if we do it in reverse, then we got left over. We didn't want to buy part of the 183 acres and go back and just. We never know how much funding we get, but we know by the time we get the contract worked out, we'll have another mod, because we got about half of the 700 right now in the current modification. So it's not going to. We've been told with 100% certain that we'll have the fund to close on it.
Yeah, you're right.
So that was the reason why it's important for us, for our accounting, for the National Guard accounting. So if they look at a mod, let's say the mod's got 500,000. If you spent 499, whoever's looking at that looks like they're not extending their obligation. And at a certain point, they can take it back. So the quicker we can dissolve a mod and do a check on it, and do all of the work that we have to do to verify it was spent properly, that gives us more credibility to get more funding.
Okay, so say you were to change it around a little bit and do the 53 acres and then a portion of the other of the 183, and that would include the railroad. I guess you're saying that might make your next application less competitive.
No.
Okay.
It just worked out that way. I mean, you know, if there was something here sitting here, I don't know if we crunched the numbers like that. That if we did one side of the insurance, I can't remember exactly how they're broke up.
There are descriptions, we don't have surveys. So all acreage conversation is plus or minus.
That's right. So, yeah, all three of these were equally top priority. So it's not like 1, 2, 3 or any, is those three. So that's why those three are the top priorities. And as Ward said, if you look at the railroad and the officers club, that's going to draw what we have, believe it or not, down to the penny. I mean, we will end up with zero amount once you figure in also all the due diligence costs. So if we didn't do that, then we would be doing, having money left over, as Ward said, which reflects negatively on the amount of money we get next year.
So we're
it
gonna
just
buy
makes sense.
183 more or less. And y'all know if you ever bought any property, it's never more.
I did, I watched
You were very lucky. You're the
26 more acres.
You're the only one I know. We never
I
had.
don't need to tell. I don't need to tell.
So we
I ain't gonna tell where.
we've done the GIS around it, and it's so close. It's within a couple of acres, we think. We're not gonna go there. We're buying it as is, 183 acres. Cause to Bill's point, if we start splitting that up, next thing you know, we're gonna have a survey and we're gonna be going down a whole nother rabbit hole.
You have gas stations and big McDonald's.
Well, as I said in the other board meeting, no, wait a minute,
No, please.
Sir, you finish first,
Oh, okay.
cause you might give me another idea.
Okay, that's fine. Would a clawback provision, for the 183 acres, if there's no development on it within 5-10 years, would that be a, no? Okay. And, regarding the, office club, repairs and such, someone mentioned earlier about, the budget over at Pickett, the DMA's budget. Does DMA have the budget for repairing the offices club?
I don't know.
They get their budget is based on the square footage that they enroll every year. So do they have the money to repair everything that feels right now? I doubt very seriously. They roll that up into a big system. Every building at Fort Pickett is broke down by square footage and and also they get their money. So they will get that square footage and that acreage of real property put into their request for next year, and they get so much money for square footage and so much money for real property acreage, so.
From what I heard today is they're concerned. They're concerned about acquiring either one of them. So, for those exact reasons.
Right. Well, no, and I think especially the officers club, because there is a historic covenant on the deed for that. So
That
basically, they'd be
transfers
required-
with the deed.
Right. That runs with land. So so they're acquiring it is basically telling the state, hey, we've now got to fix this because we just acquired this.
I don't know. I do not know. For all I know, it'd be put on the ground. I have no idea.
And then my last question, again with the historic issues with the land. I was reading some past studies, one done during a past CE, one done by the National Guard, I think just last year, about cemeteries that may still be within the base or adjacent to the base. So a little bit about the history of the base. There were 140 cemeteries that were identified, or possible cemeteries.
That's not in this transaction. You're talking about on the main?
Well, so I'm talking about any of the land that was originally part of Fort
They
Pickett.
moved
Yeah,
all over.
yeah.
They moved 120
Right, but
of
that's,
the, or
you're getting
119
outside of
the,
our, we're talking about the 183 acres. We're not talking about 41,000 acres.
Well, I'm just saying that there are at least 20 that may or may not be somewhere within the original boundaries of the original Fort Pickett.
Okay.
So that 183 acres may. So all I'm saying is there going to be some sort of a study looking into the any potential cemeteries?
It's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. I don't know. We've done a bunch of archaeological studies with Professor Bates in Longwood. But when we do the EA and put boots on the ground and the BDR, which is the base report of where the land stands right now, hopefully it's there. We'll find it. So we would respect it and take care of it. Yes, sir. If we found it. That's a good.
Can I ask one question here? You might help me with this, and I'm gonna pose it to y'all too. The BRAC agreement. If we ever go to war, they could reclaim that post and anything else on it is part of their just retaking the post back over.
Like eminent domain.
Yes, and domain.
They can absolutely do that, and they can claim this 183 acres even if the county owns it, if they CD of it, river tract.
Yes.
And it wouldn't take very much to get it done. A national threat will get it done right now. And who declares that? Whoever your president is.
So have we looked at that?
No need to look at it because it's always a possibility. I mean, there's a possibility.
That's probably a war or some imminent threat. Reppy is there every year, and this is a national program in all bases to try to protect the military bases even during peaceful times. So we haven't really looked at that, but that's always a possibility.
But all bases have got the opportunity to find a partner like us, but not all bases do it.
Well, I like to see us find a partner like you. and here's what I mean in this respect, with all due respect, Bert. 183 acres, the foundation is offered the county $2,013,000, $11,000 an acre. I want to know if it's possible, not has it ever been done, but if it's possible for us to enter into a contract of a profit share. In other words, if the ground is leased, sold, can we profit share the amount over that $2,013,000 for the first 10 years, from 11 to 20 years, and from 20 plus years? Not willing to do that. Okay. Will you answer?
It's
answer
way
one
too
question?
damn complicated. No, sir. I don't mean to be rude or short, but no way in hell.
Okay.
That'd be like giving someone lifetime hunting rights, and then the next thing you know, they're hunting illegal. So I wouldn't ask that of y'all, and I don't think it's fair to y'all ask that of us. That's not a normal real estate.
We ain't normal.
Some of us
I'm not. You know where I got that idea
No,
from, Mr.
sir.
Burton? I'm gonna give it to you right now. It's a current real estate transaction that I'm involved in. This man didn't want to sell me his 50% interest because in the back of his mind, he thinks I got a big buyer lined up the back, right? So what I told him was, no, I'm gonna pay you a lot less amount, way less than half. But if I sell it within 5 years, I'll give you 50% of whatever I give you over to start with. Guess what? He signed the paper. He said, you can do that, I'll sell it to you for that.
Well, we're not gonna sell it.
Well, listen, I know you ain't gonna sell it.
If we can work out something positive for y'all, I mean, we're a lot of things, dishonest ain't one of them. If we can work out positive something for the community and the military base with this 183 acres, we're tasked to create win-wins, and I promise you we will.
I can add you extra win if you do what I just asked you.
Yeah. The good, good. That's a good thought, though. But I will say that more than likely,
And he was a general that owned the property with me. Four-star general. Four-star general.
Well, I mean, the other thing.
I had to add that time.
I don't even think it would be. I don't know if it would be even ethical to us to enter.
It may not be.
Yeah, and especially within the cooperative agreement that we're in, we would any profit would have to go back to the REPI program, not to us within the current cooperative
Within the first
agreement.
5 years.
Is that how it worked first
Yes,
5
sir.
years?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I can tell you, looking into a crystal ball, if that 2 million, and which when somebody sells you something that belongs to you, if you put restrictions to it, it really ain't yours. So if we agree to sell it to you, and you can make $2 million on it in 6 years and keep it, that's great. Business deal. You didn't put a gun for us to sell it to you. But I just wanted to let it be known for my constituents later on to say, hey, they gave us what we asked, what we agreed to, and we appreciate that. And they brought economic growth to the county, but they also got them $6 million profit, and we would have got 3 of that for the citizens, but we didn't do it because the answer was,
Well, other than, I mean, really the only thing, other than harvesting the timber, which we won't harvest all the timber because
that ain't what you do, really.
well, that and the visual effect, we would have to, the Brandon Martins in the world, the base commanders, all that, we'd have to be real strategic how we go about that. Just doing a clear cut, I can't even envision being able to see all that. You know what I'm saying? So we may have to, it may do some things that's gonna cost us money. We may have to go in this area and plant some other visual diversion. I don't know. We're not used to having something that visually right next to the entrance of the base.
I tell you, military love their trees.
Sir.
The military love their trees.
Yeah. And it shields everything.
Yes.
So I mean, we're gonna have to be real careful, but otherwise, the only other thing would be, you know, we lease to some hunting clubs, we lease to some individuals for agriculture. We won't enter into any of those type of agreements. Our main thing is, can we create the win-win with the town and the county? Is there a way to create some jobs that's going to help the military's national defense with a partner to utilize that space? That would be awesome. That'd be awesome for all of us to be involved in. To have created that opportunity right here tonight. That would be a hell of an
Well,
opportunity.
everybody's here. Mr. Rourke, I'm gonna defer for a second. I haven't heard from these two supervisors.
My concern was the tax base, and then I read what, Commissioner of Revenue sent us. And it said 501c3 does not exempt an organization from this. In order to do that, they would have to go to the General Assembly to get an exemption from the governing body. So, exception vote. In my opinion, this is a win-win. It's a win for Pickett, it's a win for the county. The county's gonna get the money up front. If anything comes out into being from the airport overlay and so forth, that's gonna be a win for the county also, because we're gonna be able to tax those people. And right now, we're not getting anything out of this. In fact, we're losing money. So, to me, I'm all in favor of this. I don't know if you want a motion now, Mr. Chairman, but I'll make one, or let Ms. Norton speak.
So we'll finish with discussion, then we'll see if there's gonna be a motion.
Well, thank you, that's what we're tasked to do, sir, is to create these win-wins. And, it's emotional for us, it's emotional for me, because we're lucky to work on stuff that's more important than ourselves every damn day. And what those men and women do there, they keep us free.
Ms. Norton, did you have any?
I want to say, of the board, I have, I guess, an unfair advantage to them. I worked at Fort Bar for 5 years, Fort Pickett, and I was a G3 budget analyst, and I worked with the cooperative agreements. So I understand the time sensitivity, the limitations you're working with the federal NGB and the Army National Guard. They both have different budget year cycles, and you're working within those limitations. And once those funds are obligated, you have to roll with it. And it's not you're pushing us, this is very time sensitive. And I really appreciate, Mr. Burton, and your team, your due diligence to protect the base and to protect Nottoway is what we're doing. Because the goal here is everything's changing quickly. I worked out there with Stanley, he brought up a lot of great points. The security is the key. And Tom mentioned references. We don't want this land to fall into the wrong hands. Who knows what's going to happen? But because you have really thoughtfully looked at this and you've come to the table and we've discussed this many times, I really think this is a win-win for Nottoway. All the citizens won't understand all of it, but when you look at the point that this could filter down to national security, and we're involved in that, that's very humbling that we bring our people this opportunity to the table. And I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Rourke, you have another comment?
Yeah, just a couple of things, couple just kind of curiosity questions. I must be getting hungry. I can smell a whole bologna sandwich right now. All right, bro. But look, how often do these switch commanders, is that a set thing? It's just a curiosity question. Do they switch commanders on a?
That's all depends on who they got ready. And when that guy gets ready for his next assignment, who retired, who got kicked out, who didn't make their way in last month, and all that. But normally, on a rotating basis, it's round 3 to 4 years. Okay? Because those officers don't want to sit still too long, because they want to make general. They come out to make colonel and they want to make general, so they want to do a real good job of running that base, don't make nobody mad, and move along to another assignment so they can build their resume to make general. Because you're not going to never make general because you was the post commander of Fort Pickett. You know, you need to be the post commander of Fort Pickett. You need to run the G3 section on the weekend side, and you need to do some other schooling that you need to do. So those guys, although we see they get a lot of respect and they earn a lot of my respect too for what they go through and for what they do and for who they are. But a 45-year-old man that got kids at home that's trying to finish out 2 master's degrees before he can go to make general, and he's a busy man. So they try not to put it in there because it'll kill you running for longer than about 3 or 4 years. You know, being that busy and doing that much stuff.
The other question, curiosity question I had here was, have y'all seen in a process process like this, other than in a time of like national security, have y'all ever seen the government enact eminent domain and roll that over to an organization like y'all?
At Fort Annington Gap, before we got there, they had to expand their small caliber arms ranges because it got too much, as the board said, the technology got too much. And they actually had to go in and eminent domain property up on the mountain.
Okay.
That was before we got there. And then when we got there, they said, oh my God, if Reppy was there, we could have Reppied it for a lot less.
Then you can pay your citizens.
We could have paid them, they still can't own the property.
Yeah. So we did see, we saw that, but it was unfortunate we weren't there.
You see more eminent domain now, power companies.
Right.
Just trying to
Right.
get power to the base or get power to these data centers or whatnot. You know, but everybody tries to strike a deal because that gets expensive going to court over that eminent domain.
Yeah, and you know, the leadership doesn't wanna do that. Y'all know how they got the base started.
And with
There's
eminent
still
domain
people
for
around that
6,000
remember
acres in the first gap.
All right, the last thing I had here was, you know, y'all were talking about how we can have be strategic partners here was, if, you know, basically, if the military is gonna have oversight on the restrictions for say, you know, I think it would just be a huge benefit to get them to kind of help us find economic development partners. You know, I know that's not their job, but if they're gonna have, because they have contacts we don't. They have contacts with the state legislators, governor's office and stuff like that. It could help us speed up developing what we have left.
So look, it's a great point. So there's already an agreement called JLUS that y'all have with the base. And we kind of played a middleman here. Started, luckily, we had a professional guy like Steve Bowen that we could start the dialogue.
Good job.
That's where it all started. I mean, really, it started with Steve. And then we met with Steve and Bill, but think about what we went, we were telling them a lot about the military mission that y'all need to already know. Y'all need to be in this dialogue. And we're telling the base the same thing, like at 14 Town Gap, they got townships and boroughs, right? Mm-hmm. There's a representative at every single board meeting or town council, so they know. The base knows what's going on, and in the military leadership, y'all need to know what their concerns are. And to your point, I bet you there's a bunch of ways you can benefit from each other. Just knowing and looking after one another.
Good idea, to hit the post commando or representative.
Yes, sir. If we don't learn anything else from this, we can continue playing the middleman, but it's better getting it straight from the source with the guy that's in the arena and has got the uniform on.
Well, it's been almost 30 years, so we're looking for a way to go on and get it developed, because it hasn't been developed. So how do we make it happen? Let's get it up and do it.
I think Mr. Burton had said that there's some companies and names that this is working with Philip, that there may be some people who say, I'm coming.
We haven't explored it, but I know that once it happens, particularly now that Philip has gotten this conversation going, a good example is like the land that they're already buying. I bet my life there are drone companies that already are building drones for some branch of the military. Why not ask them, would they not want to be there, partner with the National Guard, the Army, and Marine Corps? They all train there. So I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend I know what y'all know being in the service, but we do know that communication is everything, right?
And my learning curve was that I found out through you, Mr. Burton, and your team, and Philip, there's a lot of information out there that's false information, and people just spread it like it's the truth. And I gotta give Philip credit where credit needs to be done. He admitted that he was wrong on something, but he came to you and y'all had a conversation to iron it out. And that don't always happen. Some people just say, well, my truth is my truth. And that's not right.
Yeah. Did he say he was wrong, or he assumed?
Right. He didn't say he was wrong.
I assumed.
I think it's in the meeting. But also I'd like to compliment Philip because we've had we were considering a couple other, properties near Blackstone. We had a great dialogue, you know, the Carlos property called you to see about it. If we were not gonna buy that, if you had expansion plans.
We look at utilities.
Right.
Where's our utilities logically, especially electric? Electric's really our bread and butter in Blackstone. So last thing we want is a big conservation easement on a big
All
tract
right,
of
Mr.
land
Redback, that's.
that we can serve electric to. So
Well, just
Go down to
Blackstone.
remember now, WDWF is not, we'll pay landowners to put, but we don't purchase it for these.
I've got,
You can explain that to me, and we're good with that.
I've got a member that has asked. Is there a member that'd like to put a motion on the floor to sell this property for $2,013,000 to the Ward Burton Foundation, 183 acres?
I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Roll call, Mr. Toker.
I thought it started over there. No, I don't care.
Mr. Rourke? Aye. 5-0, property going under contract to the Ward Burton Foundation.
All right, let me ask a question.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute.
I didn't let
Oh,
y'all
okay.
talk all night. I ain't said 2 words. Comments from the members of the board. Does anybody else have any other comments?
I was just gonna ask the barracks portion. That will be done, we've gotta
We
have.
had to, it dropped from the public hearing advertising.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
in February, that'll be that.
So
we'll
would
be
that
back.
be good with y'all?
Just as soon as possible.
Well, that, because that money's not quite available.
That's what I'm
So-
saying. I just wanna
So
make
we'll
sure.
we'll get this public portion done,
Right.
and then we'll just wait.
If we don't pass the other sale of that, it wasn't an all three or none, was it? No.
No.
We
We
done
would like,
You would
the
like,
the higher ups would like a commitment on the barracks. It would make them sleep better.
We
'Cause we
just-
get calls every single
Well,
day.
we've had these conversations about that,
Right.
and that is a place where some of the citizens' money is being lost, that it shouldn't be going there. So this public hearing will take care of that. It should have been done 2 weeks ago, but we didn't have to.
Well, just let us know, Chairman, please, if y'all need us back here.
I would think so.
We'll be in touch.
So it will be voted,
There is,
it would be voted yea or nay in the February, is that
Public
what-
Yes. Yes. Now, there is getting ready to be some negative press or negative social media in regards to what we're doing here.
Secret meeting.
Well, the citizens, yeah, but the citizens, from the county's perspective, I'll have my chairman's moment. From my perspective, this has nothing to do with what it is, where it is. My perspective is that we've been told to build a courthouse. And we have things that cost money and we have things that don't make money. And now we can take that citizen's asset, put it in an investment account, create revenue, and not have to raise their taxes as much using one of their assets. And that's my opinion. That's what's been since the judge told. So there's your chairman's moment. We'll take another motion. Anybody wants to make another motion? Unless you want to do some more.
I was gonna make a motion to adjourn.
There.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Well,
right.
hey,
Thank you.
y'all.
Thank
Great
y'all.
meeting.
Thank y'all.
Great meeting. Everybody was very respectful, very civil. Thank you.
I'm glad I was respectful. Y'all get ready to take the